Welcome back. We have completed our first mission on Eden Prime. And it seems that Saren, a Turian Spectre, has gone rogue. Well, who can blame him? Rogue was always my favorite X-Men. Wait, what? Anyway, he took the information from that beacon, which we also saw, but we couldn't make much sense out of it. Maybe he was more successful. Who knows? In any case, this is kind of over our heads. We're in deeper than we can handle here. And since Cern is an agent of the Council, we will have to go and ask them for help. And for that we have to go to the Citadel, the multicultural heart of the entire galaxy. And also one of my favorite locations in the game. Currently we are in the sick bay of the Normandy, where we were nursed back to health. Back here's the science lab. There's nothing there. Replenish Medigel. Which I kind of really needed. Well, we're not going to need Medigel soon because we're done fighting for the time being.
Hey, Commander.
Here's the mess hall of the Normandy, SR2. SR1, sorry, wrong game. Where, well, people eat, obviously. And Ashley is here waiting for us.
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. The crew could use some good news after what happened to Jenkins.
Yeah, it is a shame about him. Also a shame about whoever got paid to voice him, because he had a tiny role. I don't know if he does any other voices, though.
Jenkins was a valuable part of this crew.
Part of me feels guilty over what happened. If Jenkins was still alive, I might not be here.
That's kind of the wrong way around. You might be here because Jenkins died, but you were definitely not responsible for Jenkins' death because we hadn't even met you yet. Anyway, she's here because she's a good soldier, not because he's dead. Also because there's nothing left on Eden Prime.
You're a good soldier, Williams. You belong on the Normandy.
Thanks, Commander. That means a lot from you. I've never met anyone who was awarded the Star of Terra.
I guess we got that for the Skillian Blitz.
Things were pretty rough down there. Are you okay?
I've seen friends die before. Comes with being a Marine. But to see my whole unit wiped out, and you never get used to seeing dead civilians. But things would have been a lot worse if you hadn't shown up.
We couldn't have done it without you, Williams.
Thanks, Commander. I have to admit, I was a little worried about being assigned to the Normandy. It's nice when someone makes you feel welcome.
I think you're gonna fit in here just fine, Williams.
Thanks, Commander.
I like being nice to people. Plus I do actually like Ashley. She is not without her flaws, but she is a nice person overall. And over here is Dr. Chakwas. Not in sickbay at the moment, because, well, the captain told her to give us some privacy.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
And we can talk to her about, well, her, basically.
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of tough soldiers with piercing eyes and sensitive souls. Turns out military life isn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse, and the Alliance always needs good doctors. So I stayed on to do my part.
Ever think you made the wrong choice?
Sometimes I think about opening a private practice back on Earth, or maybe taking a position at one of the new med centers out in the colonies. But there's something special about working on soldiers. If I left the Alliance now, I'd feel like I was abandoning them.
What do you know about Captain Anderson?
I've served with him for a few tours now. He knows when to let things slide and when to crack the whip. The crew knows he's seen pretty much anything they'll ever run into. And he cares about the people under his command.
Captain Anderson is pretty much made of 3 special types of awesome.
How well do you know the lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record, over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
What's that?
What does that have to do with it?
Well, most biotics now use the L3 implants. Lieutenant Alenko was wired with the old L2 configuration. Sometimes there are complications.
What kind of complications?
Severe mental disabilities, insanity, crippling physical pain. There's a long list of horrific side effects. Caden's lucky. He just gets migraines.
Indeed. That doesn't sound too pleasant. Basically, the idea behind biotics is that they are capable of manipulating mass effect fields. Mass Effect, not just the name of the game, is also the main technology that drives all of the stuff in this universe. It's how FTL works, it's how the mass relays work, it's also how biotics work. The idea behind Mass Effect is basically that it allows you to alter the mass of an object. It kind of goes against several of our current physical laws, but, well, it is science fiction, so who cares? Apparently the key to manipulating Mass Effect fields is something called Element Zero. This is what makes FTL possible, this is what makes all of this other fantastic stuff possible. Element Zero, well, I already said I don't really know what it is or how it would work in the periodic table. But apparently it's this magical stuff that allows you to do stuff. It's basically like any kind of unobtainium in any kind of science fiction franchise, whether it's dilithium, or in this case it's Element Zero. It was discovered apparently that people who were exposed to Element Zero got these abilities, which are known as biotics. Some species have them innately. Humans only recently discovered that they can have them after Element Zero exposure, and they need implants to amplify it, like the L2 implants that Caden has.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
And we gained some experience points and more codex entries from that conversation. Our locker is here, apparently. And we can take some stuff from there. 2 sniper rifles in this case. And a grenade. Caden himself is standing on this side.
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
But apparently he doesn't feel like talking. Let's check behind here. These are actually some kind of sleeping pods. I guess there's not enough space aboard a ship like this to give everybody quarters or even bunks. So this is the best solution, I guess. Anyway, we were told to head up to the cockpit and tell Joker that we're ready to dock with the Citadel. Of course, we've been here before. There's a briefing room back there, where we currently don't need to be. Over here is the galaxy map. But only the commanding officer may specify a destination for the Normandy, which is Captain Anderson, so we don't get to do that. Presley standing here.
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. Losing Jenkins was hard enough on the crew.
Presley, by the way, is voiced by Dwight Schultz, whom you may know as Howling Matt Murdock from the A-Team, or Lieutenant Barclay from Star Trek The Next Generation. And speaking of Star Trek The Next Generation, you may have recognized the blue woman who was with Saren, who was also displaying an impressive amount of cleavage, as the voice of Marina Sirtis, who is Counselor Deanna Troi on Star Trek The Next Generation. There are various things in the ship that you can examine like this. They just give you XP and more information in the Codex. There are extra information about the ship, the universe, and everything. They're nice, not really plot relevant. Like I said, if you really want to know about them, you can find all of the Codex entries online. I am not going to read them, because it would simply take too much time. Lots of support personnel here. And Joker up in the cockpit. The seat that Alenko was in is now empty, and I believe will stay that way for the rest of the game. Also notice that we are now out of armor in our casual clothes, which in this game we cannot change. We can in Mass Effect 2.
Good timing, Commander. I was just about to bring us into the Citadel. See that taxpayer money at work.
We didn't build the Citadel. The Protheans did, 50,000 years ago. So whose taxpayer money? Okay, impressive. I'll give him that.
Look at the size of that ship.
The Ascension, flagship of the Citadel fleet.
Well, size isn't everything.
Why so touchy, Joker?
I'm just saying you need firepower, too.
Look at that monster. Its main gun could rip through the barriers in any ship in the Alliance fleet.
Good thing it's on our side, then.
Citadel Control, this is SSV Normandy, requesting permission to land.
Stand by for clearance, Normandy. Clearance granted. You may begin your approach. Transferring you to an Alliance operator.
Roger, Alliance Tower, Normandy out.
Normandy, this is Alliance Tower. Please proceed to Dock 422.
This is an outrage! The Council would step in if the Geth attacked a Turian colony?
The Turians don't found colonies on the borders of the Terminus systems, Ambassador.
Humanity was well aware of the risks when you went into the Traverse.
What about Saren? You can't just ignore a rogue Spectre. I demand action!
You don't get to make demands of the Council, Ambassador.
Citadel Security is investigating your charges against Saren. We will discuss the CSEC findings at the hearing, not before.
Captain Anderson, I see you brought half your crew with you.
Just the ground team from Eden Prime, in case you had any questions.
I have the mission reports. I assume they're accurate?
They are. Sounds like you convinced the Council to give us an audience.
They were not happy about it. Saren's their top agent. They don't like him being accused of treason.
But it is the truth.
Saren's a threat to every human colony out there. He needs to be stopped. The Council has to listen to us.
Settle down, Commander. You've already done more than enough to jeopardize your candidacy for the Spectres. The mission on Eden Prime was a chance to prove you could get the job done. Instead, Nihilus ended up dead and the beacon was destroyed.
That's Saren's fault, not his.
Then we better hope the CSEC investigation turns up evidence to support our accusations. Otherwise, the Council might use this as an excuse to keep you out of the Spectres. Come with me, Captain. I want to go over a few things before the hearing. Shepard, you and the others can meet us at the Citadel Tower, top level. I'll make sure you have clearance to get in.
And that's why I hate politicians.
I'm right with you there, actually. I do not like Udina. He is a giant arse, essentially. He is actually voiced by Bill Ratner, who was the narrator in King's Quest 6. Even though he sounds nothing like him here. Doing a different voice, but it is the same voice actor. So this is the Citadel, or at least a tiny part of it. Impressive. Very, very impressive. I really love this location. The sense of scale that this game is able to impart in its environments is really impressive. I really love that. This is actually a circular ring that we're in. The sky is fake, as you may be able to tell. And it's rotating to generate gravity, even though they do apparently also have artificial gravity, judging by the Normandy. I guess it's easier to generate gravity in a station this size by just using plain old centrifugal force. Or centripetal force, if you must.
Sure is peaceful here.
It is.
Big place.
Caden, still master of the obvious. We'll get to see much more of the Citadel over the course of playing this game. We'll be here for a while, so I hope you like it.
This place is a little too perfect. Like they're hiding something.
Paranoid much, Ashley?
I can't tell the aliens from the animals.
Yeah, and Ashley's a bit of a xenophobe. What the hell are you doing, Caden? This is no place for doing in-place jogging.